Hey everybody, it's Libby DeLucian again with WootRecruit, your go-to recruiter for the high turnover industry, such as cleaning, lawn care, construction, any service-based business. We are the first ever recruitment program tailored exclusively for the service-based industry, turning recruitment into a growth engine. And today we're going to talk about a fun subject. We're going to talk about spring, right? It is pretty much the last couple days of January. And we know that spring kicks off in March. And we want to talk about how can you benefit from recruiting sooner than later. And what are those industries, because it's going to be relevant to you, but also what are the first signs of spring? And I thought that I saw somebody post in Facebook and I thought it was great. The first signs of spring is when they see the buds start to appear on the trees in their neighborhood, and they see them all over the trees. And that is their first sign that spring is coming. And so I know it's super cold this time of year, and it may not be front of mind, but I want you to think about something that serious people who are going to use your services for spring, whether you're in cleaning, for spring cleaning, lawn care, landscaping, window washing, power washing, or even construction and roofing. Serious people start to look in mid-February. They start planning, they start organizing, they start getting quotes and estimates. And then the procrastinators actually start looking in May when spring is here and the grass is 10 feet high and the house is super dirty, or you're already booked up and you can't take any more construction jobs. So we want to talk about how can you be proactive in your recruiting when it comes to preparing for spring. So again, spring affects lawn care, landscaping. It affects house cleaning. It affects home improvement and construction. It affects nurseries and gardening, HVAC companies, pest control, pool services, window washing, power washing, and even the retail industry. So it's super important that if you're an owner of any of these companies, that you start to prepare, that you start to be proactive, so that we're not procrastinating and then all of a sudden we're turning away work because we're not staffed. So I'm going to give you 6 key benefits to start why you should start your recruiting now. Top candidates are available. So let's get started. Top candidates are available. The best candidates are typically only on the market for about 8 days. If they're a great candidate, superstar, rock star, we're going to talk about 6 days. So let's say 6 to 8 days. So starting early gives you a better chance of snatching up that talent before your competitors do. So, right, top candidates are available now. Number 2 is the hiring process, the length of it. On average, believe it or not, it takes about 36 days to get an employee activated. That's talking onboarding and training and getting up to efficiency with time, right? So if you start early, you can really navigate that time consuming processes and you don't have to rush them. You're ensuring that you pick the best candidate, but they're also activated and onboarded properly. Because if we're waiting until spring gets here, we're going to rush through that process, that onboarding and orientation process. We're not going to train them appropriately. So it gives you length in your hiring process. Reduced competition. So starting early, you're likely to face less competition for top talent, which means it will dramatically reduce your cost in sponsoring hiring ads. Because when spring gets here, all of these industries are now hiring at the same time. So it's going to drive up the cost of Indeed, of ZipRecruiter, or whatever you're using. It's going to drive up those costs. There's going to be more jobs than there are applicants. So that's going to drive up the cost and it's going to become extremely competitive and expensive. But if we start early, it's actually cheaper. So it's going to reduce the cost and reduce the competition. Cost effectiveness. Well, I kind of got into that. That's number 4. But rushed hiring, this is a different part of cost effectiveness, because if you're rushing to hire, if you're rushing to make a decision, right? We can make decisions fast if we have an organized process. But if we're rushing into this process because all of a sudden we have all these leads that we have to service, we're more likely to make poor decisions. which can be very costly, right? We're hiring out of desperation, we're settling for the least worst applicant, or we're picking people that are not culture fits. So ultimately, it's more cost effective because you can start early and allow thorough training, thorough vetting, thorough onboarding to make sure that you've selected the right candidate. Number 5 is technology and automations. If you use technology and automations for your recruiting, such as WootRecruit, your process can increase efficiency up to 70%. 70%. You can be more efficient and productive by 70% if you're using technology and automations, which is crazy, but great. This approach is especially effective if you start early because, again, we're leveraging the time. No one is using this right now. No one is recruiting. So start early, use technology to make it even faster. And number 6 is company culture fit. By starting early, it gives you more time to assess that hire and the quality of their work, and also to make sure that they fit the culture of your company. And if they don't, then we can go back to re-interviewing, re-offering more positions. And we should always be interviewing, but it gives you more time. Therefore, you're not stuck with a bad fit or a non-culture fit employee. And we're not keeping them now out of desperation, where we were hiring out of desperation, and now there's this keeping them in desperation. So it gives you more time to assess culture fits. You want to make sure that culture fits are selected because those are our long-term employees. That affects our employee retention and satisfaction. And culture is so big right now because one person that doesn't follow the culture is essentially a culture killer. And it is detrimental to the health of the organization. So you want to make sure it's well planned, it's timely recruiting to really enhance the success when it comes to staffing and onboarding for the spring. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, it's time to think about it. It's the end of January or February 1st, pretty much in a day or two, to get serious about your recruiting. Because like I said, in some places it can start as early as the mid-February, and we don't want to be late to this party. We want to make sure we're recruiting efficiently, effectively, and also getting the most out of our money. So if you are in our green industry or in the lawn care industry, we are offering a free 30-day trial of WootRecruit to the end of February, to the end of the month. So please reach out if you are interested. We are only taking a limited number of applications for this free trial. And again, it's exclusively for the green industry. I'm Libby DeLucian. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also sign up for our newsletter. Again, we are WootRecruit. We are the first ever recruiting program tailored exclusively for the service industry.